What a perfect day to have Vinny Curry in studio with us, talking about Robert Saleh, his former coach, getting fired, previewing the Browns this weekend because his former defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz, is coming to town. It's all coming up next on the PHLY Eagles podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PHLY Eagles podcast on a Tuesday afternoon. We are presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, and it's a fun Tuesday here. Bo Wulf, Zach Berman, joined in studio by our resident Super Bowl champion, Vinny Curry. Vinny, do you know what that picture is from that was on the bumper before the show started of you celebrating at the link?
Oh, man. Hopefully it was the NFC Championship.
You're damn right it was. You're absolutely right. Zach, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thrilled to be here. Thrilled to be here with Vinny, not just seeing him on the screen, being in person. I want the audience to know that's Vinny, I'm Zach, right? So in case they didn't know, right? We got to make that clear.
Another creative heater from you after
I used
your
that joke with
performance
Fletcher last year.
night.
I have to keep rolling with it.
That's good. And what a fun event it was last night for the sickos.
That
talking
was
to
fun.
you about this new book.
Talking to us.
Yeah, but you were the star.
Rewarding to see the sense of community we have here at PHLY, and hoping we have more of those events.
All right. Well, Vinny, what a timely day for you to be here with us because big NFL news.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to lots of other stuff. We're going to get to Jim Schwartz. We're going to get to Nick Sirianni and maybe some conversation about like the media NFL player locker room conversation that is happening right now. But Robert Saleh, your last NFL coach as a player. You were with the Jets for 2 seasons. You were there for his first year. What was your reaction? How much was the phone blowing up as the word came down that he had been fired after 5 games?
Oh, man, my phone was ringing off the hook, and I'm like, why everybody keep calling? What's going on? And then I happened to see it, man. I was just like, dang, that's unfortunate. But listen, with the mishaps, that's been going on up there, I know that fan base and their ownership want to win really badly. In the last couple of weeks, they kind of blew those games. So
the word you keep hearing from the reports is that like they're stunned inside the building. How accurate do you think that actually is? Do you think players, coaches, people in the building are surprised by this, or do you think this is something that, given the way they played in London, that it was kind of a possibility?
I think 50-50. I think some are stunned. And I also think, just the way it played in London played a big part of some of the, I guess what you call it, decision-making, that went on in London. It's just a real unfortunate situation, man. And maybe might be stunned for a Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
Is that actually effective? Because we hear it and we'll talk about it in terms of when people are mad, they say fire the coach, right? If you make an in-season firing, is that an effective thing? Like, is it just shuffling the deck chairs, or do you think it can change a team?
I think that they can go both ways. Like I said, obviously, if you fire him during the season, that means that it must have been eyes on something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think it was just like spare the moment, let him go. The interim coach, I think, was Coach Brick.
Yeah.
That they put in there.
You're the D coordinator, yep.
Which, at the end of the season, Coach Brick was probably going to get a head coaching opportunity somewhere.
Interesting,
elsewhere. So I just think just the way it happened, how fast it happened, I think that's the stunning part about it. And it's unfortunate, Saleh's a good dude, but it's New York, it's just the last outing was not good.
Yeah.
We have talked both on camera and off camera about how different you found the culture with the Jets than with the Eagles, where you were for so long. Explain that. Why? What was so different when you got there?
You got to understand. So we helped create that Eagles culture, that kind of the culture that everyone is used to, back in 2012, and carry that torch all the way. So then, when you look at the Jets, you're in the back end of your career, everything was like, kind of different, or it wasn't as. And I'm glad you brought that up, because this is going to be like a. We talk about sense of urgency a lot,
right? And this is Saleh setting the culture, because this is his first year,
right? So when we got there, it was just everything was just totally different than what you're used to. So as an older player, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just kind of like, wow, like things was really, really different. But you adapt to it, and unfortunately, I ended up having the surgery.
Right.
So that was crazy.
And in what sense do you have of? I know we're an Eagles show, but the Jets are in the news. Of whether the Jets will turn this around, like, do you think there is talent there and they're underachieving?
Oh, absolutely.
Or do you think they're playing to what Saleh's level is?
No. I think there's a lot of talent there. They're underachieving, and I just think maybe a shakeup like this would probably light a fire. Under. I don't want to curse, but
under their rear ends.
Yeah.
So, like, how do players find out? Because in 2012, your rookie year, I remember Jim Washburn, your D-line coach, he was fired. You guys got off the plane, coming back from New Orleans, and he got fired.
Yeah.
But it was a surprise then, right? How do players find this out when this happens?
Now that was a surprise.
Yes.
You see, like that's a stun moment. Like you're on the plane and you're going over what could have did better, right, or what went wrong. But I remember that day. That was a crazy day in the Superdome.
Yeah.
That's what the whole.
That was a bad loss.
Yeah, that was a bad loss. We did a trick play on the kickoff.
I remember
return.
that Riley Cooper laying down.
They was. Now that was a stunning.
Like, are there texts? Typically, like, are there texts from the team? Is it the type of thing where, like, one person finds out, you find out on social media? How does that happen?
A little bit of both. Think about it. We lost, 2 coaches that year?
Mm-hmm. Juan Castillo and then
Wash.
Yeah, that was crazy. Especially with Wash being a guy that, that had you at this standard.
Yeah.
Sure.
You coming into practice at 7:00 in the morning, and you just like this, ready to go right now. Just like, man, I'm not gonna be the last one. I'm not gonna be the one to buck up today. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And now that you see the way the ball is going, I don't really see a lot of people with that standard. You know what I mean? Because if you didn't meet his standard, he will let you have it. He didn't care who was around, your mom, your dad, whoever.
How about Juan? What was that like when he was fired?
I want to say that was shocking as well. But mind you,
that was during the bye.
I'm only been in the,
right.
League.
We don't know any better.
We would have been in the league for about 8 weeks.
Right.
So that was like, what's next?
Yes. Not me. Right.
Yeah. Quite a debut. As for Saleh, surprised or not, do you think there are guys in that building who are happy?
I would say, listen, I would say this. I would say, there's some guys that's like, damn, like, I can't believe that happened. I will say some guys are probably like, yo, man, we need to get it together. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I won't say happy. I will say more so feeling the heat. Mm-hmm. That's what I would say. I will say feeling the heat because, listen, if you don't start winning there, at one point in time, you got to take accountability and you got to be held at a proper standard, at this professional sport that we love. So
now, I think if you flip this to the Eagles, Zach, you think about Sirianni and Saleh hired that same cycle, right? Mm-hmm. And now only 2 of those 7 guys are left: Dan Campbell and Sirianni. Obviously, Sirianni's had a much better record than Saleh has, but Sirianni is sort of on the hot seat, and that means we can go to our Ace Hardware temperature check, where Ace Hardware Home services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com. Get you started on your next project because there's some fire on Nick. How aware are you as a player when there is conversation about the coach's job status?
Oh, you mean it's Philly? It's what?
Yeah.
You aware about a lot of things. Anything that's talked about, you hear it. That's why they say ignore the noise.
You can't ignore it though, can you?
Think about it. They don't say we don't hear the noise.
Okay.
They say ignore the noise.
Sure, good point. That's a good
I mean?
distinction.
So,
yeah.
But I will say that the Eagles players love Nick. They love him. So if they feeling the pressure, think about it. With a great team, with greatness, period, comes pressure. And that's just the standard and the culture that us, has a Philadelphia fan base, has a culture, everything has created, because we want to be great.
Sure.
We want to be great, but at the same time, players got to start taking accountability and taking actions. How can they play better? Because when players mess up, that's when they get bored down on Nick.
To follow up on Bo's point there, it's by nature of being in the league for a long time. You've been in these experiences 4 times in your career. The coach was fired. 2012, Andy Reid. 2015, Chip Kelly. Dirk Cutter. 2018, Doug Peterson. 2020. So in those cases, in the locker room, you have annoying people like me coming up to you guys saying, are you playing for the coach's job? Things like that. There was a situation with the Eagles last year after the Tampa loss when Jalen Hurts is asked about, do you want Nick back? And Jalen acted like, where's this question coming from? If he had just watched our show week 12, he would have known where it was coming from. But that's besides the point. When this is coming up, like, are players talking about it? Is it the type of thing that it only, you said ignore the noise,
Right.
but you also said you kind of know it's there.
Right.
Does it actually come up in conversations? No, it doesn't.
No. Nah.
Okay.
You don't want to be the guy spreading that.
Okay.
Interesting.
No. When I mean you hear it, you hear it on the way to work.
Right.
The guy's not sitting there gossiping about it.
Maybe when you get home to wife, you're like, I wonder what's going to happen here.
But it's really the family members that's listening to the shows, making sure you saying something about their baby or saying something about their family member, and that they say this about your coach, or they say this about you, or that's really where you hear that stuff from. But guys is not just having powwows inside the locker room now.
But I imagine, in anyone's line of work, if there's someone who hires you, like if you have a boss who hires you and that boss is fired, then you might be saying, oh, is the new boss going to be interested in me, right? Does the new boss want me? So in the NFL locker room, sometimes you have a coach who's an advocate for you. You have a D-line coach, a coordinator. Sometimes it's the GM. Right. Do players start worrying about their own job security in those cases?
It depends. I would say they'll start worrying about if they fit that scheme or not. I remember when they was bringing in when Coach Reed left and they was bringing in Chip.
Yeah.
And my phone was like 7:30 in the morning. I might get ready for a workout or something. And I'm like, damn, why my college coaches calling? So I answered the phone and it was like, hey, Vin, we're flying into Philadelphia. I was like, for what? So, Chip Kelly taking a job. I was like,
I wish you told me, man.
Oh, all right. And I was, the guy that called me, Coach Bender was one of my favorites. Yeah, he's one of my favorites. But I said, hey, Coach, who are you bringing? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And that's how I knew that Chip was coming here. But when Miller
Coach,
called
I can't
me,
play inside
I know
linebacker.
they're going, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know that now that scheme going. I'm like, damn. Here I am, my rookie season ain't going the way we want, you know what I mean? Because, at the time we had, 11 active DNs on the thing. Exactly. And now we're getting ready to go to this 3-4. I already knew right away. So that's what you kind of started out. The first person I called was Fletch. I said, yo, bro, see if it's real.
Yeah.
And then it was real. Like, oh, wow. You know what I mean?
Now, which of those firings was most surprising and which one was least surprising?
Good question.
I would say the most surprising was, I guess, obviously Doug.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
That's true.
The most you guys have been winning. Yeah.
The most least surprising. It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. I would say between Chip and Dirk because when that's like if that's like Allen Iverson in his prime. If the Sixers trade Allen Iverson, how would you how you can't get over that?
Yes.
I don't care how much winning you doing. Yeah, you're not gonna get over that.
Andre Miller did not make you get over that.
You know what I mean? Like so.
Yeah.
I think
the stigma on him going to be you traded Shady for
right.
Akiko, right?
Sure,
Akiko
yeah.
It was probably the timing of it that was
Yeah,
that didn't
Tuesday
happen.
night,
Yeah,
week,
that didn't happen
week
after
17.
the season.
Yeah, I think like you're what that dude meant to the locker room at that time was like, wait, what are we gonna do now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just crazy. I see how much energy he brings on TV. That's him for real. Like locker room, you dragging your day dragging. He come in there, you're like, man, you better get on it today because we're gonna make a fool out of me with the moves. Like, so it's just like that right there was like you can't get over that. So that's what I would say that was the least surprising because him, Shady, and then when he didn't bring Mac back,
Yeah.
and he sent Mac to Kansas City, I was just like, oh wow.
Yeah, but he got Miles Austin.
I like Miles, man. Shout out to Miles. Then I think he tried to refix it with the whole DeMarco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just did. It wasn't a
That
good
didn't
fit.
work.
Yeah. It wasn't. But
That was a
once
weird
again,
year.
you talk about culture, right? They get to see how this culture is, and it's like, not everything ain't abrasive.
Yeah.
Everything not abrasive.
Yeah.
You gotta fit the criteria and you gotta fit this mold, and you see that didn't really last long. So
I think that sort of leads to an interesting big picture question, which is who really sets the culture? Is it the coach or is it the guys in the locker room?
That's a good question.
I would say the aura of the locker room, the aura of the locker room, the coaches set the scheme. So this coaches set the scheme of the culture and of the habits, but let's be honest, this was a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
You're going to put your own influences to this culture and make little changes here and there and tweaks, obviously, but playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, this was a well-oiled machine. Like even the guys that came before us, the guys that came before them, our team is based off defensive line play, quarterback play, receiver and running back play. And then you look about it within the last couple of years, is that offensive line's been phenomenal.
Sure.
And everything they've been doing. So that was to bring everybody together. You know what I'm saying? And on my way up here, me and Trent was talking about
Trent Cole.
Yep. So Trent Cole, me and him was talking about it on our way up here. I'm like, yo, man, damn, man, like Birds got to get it together. And he was like, yeah, but I was like, yo, what you think they missing? And that's you just got to show more love. Like I got your back. You know what I mean? You got my back. I don't really see that on the defense.
I think there have been some times when you have seen that on the field, right?
Interesting.
Right? Where,
how so?
Well, like there was week 1, Jalen gets knocked after the play and nobody does anything about it. The DeVonta play, I know that they're trying to not get a penalty, but like nobody does anything about that. I don't know. I feel like you've seen that a little bit on the field.
I've always found Jordan Mailata always is typically the guy who's defending in those cases. Jason Peters used to do that too. I think about that.
That's his teacher. See what I'm saying?
That's a good
Hey,
point.
look, well-oiled machine.
That's the thing. I think you could look at each of those positions that you mentioned, the important positions in Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie's eyes, and there are those connections, right? It's whoever taught Trent Cole, then Trent Cole teaches you and BG, and then it carries on, right? And it's the same thing with Jason Peters to Jordan Mailata, and each of those like tentpole positions has that sort of that similar DNA.
And it's like I said, when we was young pups, we had some unsung heroes that don't really get a lot of flowers, like Darryl Tapp.
I like that.
Darryl Tapp
He's a
was
good coach now.
Think about most of everybody that I'm getting ready to name are coaches.
Yeah,
that's the wild part about it. They wasn't trying to big homie you or big brother you, but it was out of love. They made sure everybody came over at least once a week or once every 2 weeks to their house. Yeah, it was a lot of family bonding. Well, I would say team family bonding. Which trickled down. You know what I mean? And that's why them dinners that they have go on today, because that was started. And
Who else?
I would say so. Yeah. Obviously, Vic. Obviously.
Yeah.
At the time, Tat, Trent Cole, D'Amico Ryans. Shady, he was in a lot of that. Jason Peters,
Yes.
you know, which Ty Hermans,
Yeah, that's a good one.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ty Hermans, Evan Matthews, like that whole thing. Think about how that whole offensive line looked my first 2 years in the league or first 3 years in the league to how what it transpired to going forward from you know what I mean, from whenever to whenever. It just kept getting better, and they was doing the same things. And they still are trying to do the same type of things they used to do because it's a well-oiled machine. When you got great teachers and great leaders, you want to take those qualities and teach it to the next person, you know. Because this game got an expiration date for every player, you know. So you better give that player what the game gave to you, you know, if you're truly a team player.
All said.
All right. Well, that's actually a perfect transition to this word from our sponsors. Because just like with the defensive ends and the offensive line, where a lot has changed over the years and yet the DNA has remained the same, well, it's a lot like the great taste of Miller Lite. Another thing that hasn't changed over the years is that Miller Lite remains less filling. So what is the best thing about the original light beer? Miller Lite sparked this debate in 1975, and we still haven't settled it. But good thing is it doesn't really matter. You get both with Miller Lite. Miller Lite keeps it simple, undebatable quality, great taste, and only 96 calories. It's the beer that strips away everything you don't need and holds on to what matters most. A light beer that tastes like beer, less filling, and only 96 calories. The original light beer since 1975. You don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/PHLY birds. Or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
I have a little marriage confession. I can't fix anything in the house,
we go.
right? So whenever something breaks, my wife says, "Can you fix this? Can you fix that?" The answer is typically no. All right, so and that's why it's great to have a place like Ace Hardware Home Services. If you have a leaky pipe, Ace Hardware Home Services is around the block with everything you need, including the person to do the fixing. If you have an air conditioning issue, they have a person for that. If you have a faucet that you say you'd fix last fall, which I'm not the one who's able to do it, I need a person to, because at Ace Hardware, they're not just the helpful hardware folks, they're also the helpful home service and repair folks. From plumbing to heating and cooling, we've got the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services, we're bringing helpful home, the helpful you love, from the store now to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com to get you started on your next project.
All right.
I forgot to give Connor Baldwin his flowers too. He's on that list.
Connor Baldwin, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
So it's not a surprise to you then, some of these guys who've gone into these roles. D'Amico's a head coach. Daryl Taft, like we said, he was in San Francisco. He's in Washington now. Connor Baldwin, I can't tell you how many of these young players talk to me about the developmental program that the Eagles have, which Connor oversees.
Right.
So it's not a surprise for you to see some of these guys doing that.
I definitely can see Brandon Graham when he's done in that role too. You know, so.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I wonder what BG's going to do.
What do you think?
I don't know. Maybe he'll be head coach.
You see, he'd be
BG gonna be like how Deuce was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Deuce was a favorite. You know? Yeah. What? Yeah.
Yeah, they won't let him out the building.
Man, what? And if you,
I just hope he's not.
If you was stuck it up, Deuce would let you know. Hey, come on, soldier, bro. Yeah, he would say some stuff, bro.
I just hope Jeffrey Lurie doesn't interview Brandon Graham for the head coaching job 3 times and not hire him.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
he did with Deuce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, speaking of guys who will tell you what they really think,
Right.
let's take a minute to talk about your friend Jim Schwartz, because the Cleveland Browns are coming to town, and we know what he did with the Eagles defense. You were there for that transition. What's it like to play for Jim Schwartz?
It's unbelievable. We talk about that standard, and we talk about, you know, how you come into the building. He gonna light a fire under anybody. You know, as soon as you walk in, you know, he on that time in 24/7. I'm like, damn, coach, you ever take some time out for yourself? He said, yeah, bro. You know, on Fridays when y'all leave here, I go home and I go fishing and I come right back. I said, you drive, you live far as hell. Like, he was like, how many would do that, bro? He would do that for 2 hours. Go take a 2-hour drive, go fishing, come back and ready. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, nah, but. He's very fiery. And when we talked about this the last time I was here, he's gonna be ready for this game. He's gonna have those guys pumped up, ready to go. You know, because there ain't no atmosphere like the link.
Right. And he is a guy who I think doesn't necessarily need extra motivation, but probably has a little bit of extra motivation going up against this Eagles team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely. I'm pretty sure, you know, because he loves it here. You know, Jim loves it here, and he's definitely going to try to, you know, pull out all the stops and, you know, have those guys ready to play. But Jim, you're going down.
Ooh, I like that. By the way, Vinny, do you know that I was looking at your, you know, your stats before? I think this is an important thing for you to just use as a nice piece of, you know, boosting yourself up. The only season that you got to start every single game, you won the Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. With Jim.
Yeah, I mean, we should have been a starter the whole time. Win a couple of Super Bowls.
Yeah, you know, but you know, it's the Philadelphia rotation. You know, it's the Eagles rotation. You know, I was always one that I told you I was the player that do dirty work that would take the high road with it. You know, you know what I mean.
Now there were two things that, you know, Malcolm Jenkins pointed out about Jim Schwartz in his book, which was that he said he treated like the bottom of the roster players and the top of the roster players the same. It didn't matter who you were. And then the other thing is he said he wanted everyone to get paid. Like, and he brought up a scene in a meeting when he got hired when he said, Fletcher Cox, Malcolm Jenkins, you guys just got paid. He could have mentioned you got paid that year too. Right. But you know that like that was something that came up in the meetings. What were some of the behind the scenes things from Jim Schwartz that distinguished him as a coach?
It was always a lesson inside the lesson. What Jim meant to us, you know, it was really paying homage, you know, to the veteran players all the time. He really, really held veterans at a high-ass standard. I mean, high. You like, damn. You know, the amount of respect he had for guys, you know, with 9+ years in their career was phenomenal. It make you wonder, like, oh, I can't wait till he called me up like that. You know, like stuff like that. And particularly, I remember when I got my master's degree in 2020, they did like a little, you know, I couldn't make graduation at the time because we getting ready for a game.
Right.
And they had
it's a big flex, the master's degree, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. You just slip that in there.
You're the only master's degree guy on set here.
You know,
so
they did a whole ceremony thing for me there. That was
That's
cool.
great.
Yeah,
That's
that
awesome.
was dope. But it was always a lesson inside a lesson. And he respect the hell out of players and the way they play their game and what they put their bodies through. And that will make you, you know, want to go through a wall for him. You know, like he pointed out, to be the starter. You know, like, hey V, you better get what you can get on this. You know, and then that's, you know, we got Barnett and I'm coming on third because you got your. So I try to be the most hitting this DN to a quarterback on first and second down that we ever seen, and obviously that was a goal. And he would point that out in front of the whole entire organization, like, yo, this kid had his goal, he hit this goal, achieved his goal, and it was just dope. He found different ways to motivate every single person, like Malcolm said, from the bottom of the roster to the top of the roster. And if you wore a number or you reminded him of one of his favorite players, he will make you do a report on him.
Really?
And you got to get that report.
Who'd you have to do a report on back then?
No, they didn't.
You didn't have to do it? No one more 75?
Younger guys?
Okay.
Nah. But Coach Walsh now over at the Eagles, he makes the guys still do it.
Okay.
Somebody had to do a report on me over there. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you touch a number.
I like that.
Well, I wonder who's
probably Teron Jackson.
Yeah,
Teron Jackson.
Yeah, you
He wears
touched the number.
75.
Yeah. He's a good player too. So stuff like that is how things are created and understanding and holding yourself at a high standard. So if I say you remind me of somebody and you want you to wear this, you're going to try everything to be better than that person they remind you of, because you want him to you're going to erase him. I'm better than him, you know?
So it's a motivational tactic too. I like
Always
that.
a lesson inside a lesson with Jim.
And you know, it's interesting you said that about the veteran players, because this was the first exposure I had to it. In 2016, you guys signed Stephen Tollick, and he made a point. Jim Schwartz made a point of mentioning the respect he had for 10-year veterans in the league, and like went out of his way to say, like, when you get to 10 years in this league, how special that is. And like he gave like a 5 minutes soliloquy on 10-year veterans. Now to spin it to this weekend though, Bo and I have talked about this. I really like Jim Schwartz's scheme. I've said I understand the Vic Fangio schemes, the fad in the NFL, if you will. But the Jim Schwartz scheme, I always liked, because, and I'll defer to you on this, but the way players explain it to me is that it's easy to learn, and it allows you to play fast and play with your instincts. Having played in that scheme, what makes it successful? Because it's been successful in Tennessee, in Detroit, in Buffalo, in Philly, now in Cleveland.
Jim used to always say, I don't know, I watch my mouth.
It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
Motherfuckers always got something to say about my scheme. We go to man-to-man coverage. That's how much fucking I respect the fuck out of my secondary. And guess what? Defensive line, I get motherfuckers paid.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
true.
Yeah.
And you go down his list from the time the scheme was put in. And the scheme was put in, I want to say the scheme was put in for Peyton Manning.
In Tennessee.
Is that right? Yeah.
Because Tennessee in the division to play against Peyton Manning.
Yeah, the whole boot.
Yep.
He can boot his ass off, and you go down from Cliff Averill, Kyle Vandenbosch, Albert Hainsworth.
Yep.
Then
you get to Sue.
And then keep going.
Vandenbosch.
That whole, and then keep going. And you
Marcel Darius.
Then you come to our list, everybody got paid.
Yeah.
Then he leaves to go to Buffalo. Oh, did he go to
Buffalo? He went
Detroit
to Buffalo.
Even
Buffalo,
that whole Buffalo, Mario Williams, Marcel Darius, paid. Then he came here, paid. Like, I said, damn.
And players like that, I imagine.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
But this, when you ask me, you say how much of it is cultural, how much of it is scheme. So when culture meets scheme,
that's the fit.
Thank God. You know, but you also got to understand with this, it ain't easy. It's not easy, because he gonna call you out in front of the whole building. Yo, what was this? So that's when I talk about sense of urgency. The littlest thing, because it was attention to detail, but that's how much trust that we had in one another. And everybody none of us wanted to be on there, so that's just all fucking do our jobs. You know what I mean? And
right.
Yeah, that's what makes it special, bro.
So why is the scheme so effective against the run? Because that's the thing that always jumped out to me. You think a 4-man front with it's a wide front.
Yeah.
Maybe it would be susceptible against the run, but Jim always emphasized that like stopping the run, and statistically, his defenses typically are very good against the run.
I want to say, within those years, we might have led the league in tackles for loss.
That sounds about right, yeah. Especially those first 2 years.
What happens is, Jim was, you ain't setting the edge. He was like, what the it will go nuts. But he
could use that right now.
Yes, but he will also go nuts on your coach.
Interesting, okay.
He will go.
So Chris Wilson in your game. Phil Daniels.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had Burke.
Yep.
We will go nuts on the coach, because he's like, yo, what is going on? If I come down there, it's going to be a bigger problem. So that's what's the thing. Once again, it's like, pay attention to the detail, watching film, watching the guys that came before you. But look at the list of guys that I gave you that got paid, that played it in scheme before you. So if you're struggling, you could go back and see what fits your ability of those caliber of players, because you're here for a reason. So obviously, one of those players is closer to you. So, like me, I watch Cliff Averill, Kyle Vanderbosch. Kyle Vanderbosch played hard as you know what.
Yep.
Cliff Averill get off the ball like he get off the ball.
Yep.
So you can watch that. See, damn, what was successful for them? What did they see? You know, and all of us did it like that. And then, you know, we would try to outdo whatever the record was that he had. We would try to outdo that. We would try to shatter that. Yeah, it was crazy. Like,
Now,
we took that personal.
What about from just a week-by-week standpoint? How does Jim Schwartz put a game plan together, and how does he present that to the team? So, like, what might the Browns be going through this week as they prepare for the Eagles?
So, you know, the Brown, he'll call his defensive meeting, he'll be like, all right, the keys to victory. Okay. You know, he'll put his bulletin.
3, 5, what do we got?
Depends on what team you're playing.
Oh, okay.
You know, so you hear me talk throughout our show, throughout the weeks, I always say single-digit missed tackles is how you win games.
Okay.
That come from Jim. That's a Jim thing. That's why I'm probably on there.
Interesting. Okay.
But he'll have these keys to victories. They'll have these keys to victories, but then he'll make everybody get up. One by one, you have to sign it.
Oh, interesting.
It's like signing a contract almost.
No, but it's like blood in, you know, back in like, you know how it is.
Okay.
Wear one for all.
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
You sign it. And then whoever has the best game on defense, he frames it.
Oh.
He put the score on there.
I love
and gives
that.
it to you. Yeah,
That's awesome.
You know, I got a couple of those.
You got
in
a
my
few of
house.
those?
Yeah.
Which games?
I got it. Broncos one, maybe two Giants ones, a Dallas one. I got a couple of them. Yeah,
good for you.
Yeah. And then, you know, primetime ones, that's the ones you want for real.
Okay.
You're like, oh, I was out there. You know, you go back to it. Yeah.
So as he's meeting with the Browns this week, you say it depends on the team. You know the Eagles personnel.
Right.
What's his top priority this week? Is he focusing on Saquon Barkley? Is he saying A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith? Is it Jalen Hurts is running? What is his emphasis when he's sitting there with Myles Garrett and you know J.O.K. and those guys this week?
There ain't gonna be no walk in the park with this offensive line. That's what he's telling them.
Interesting.
There ain't gonna be no walk in the park. Listen, the Eagles is a physical team. So he's telling them, we have to out physical them. You know, once they show any type of weakness in the armor, then it's attack mode. You know, that's what he's telling them. You know, especially on that defensive side of the ball. Yeah. So
now he always downplayed publicly his like economics background and his emphasis on math. And would he present numbers to you guys? Would because he came up before analytics were a thing really in the NFL. That was a background that he had with the Cleveland Browns. Does he present data to you guys? Is that just something that he's discussing with coaches? How did that come up?
I mean, the data that he presented was just, you know, your regular team breakdown on what this guy's doing, what scheme here, what the look on here. You know, he really does. And, you know, what the Eagles did was give him so much resources of, you know, I don't know what you call. I don't want to say graduate assistants, but like interns.
Right.
Yeah, support staff, quality control guys.
Quality control guys. So, and it will make it easier for the player to watch the film.
Okay. So instead of like an empty template of like, go watch this, it's specific stuff.
Oh, man, because he would chew you out for a reason because he know damn well that you're not prepared well enough, because with the information that he's presenting, you should be able to watch it individually and know that what you got to do on what call that match. Like, oh damn, okay, this calls for this. This is what they're about to do. So you already know damn near what they're about to do before they do it, and that's what made us real good. And then when you start saying, hey, yo, Malcolm, when Malcolm come down, you ever see me or BG, or even, you know, doing that run, Chris or somebody, to talk to him like, yo, bro, I'm about to take a chance. And then, you know, and Michael will be there to save everybody because that was Jim's guy.
Yeah.
And you know, we messed up, they was on his ass, you know what I mean? So that's what made us great, man. So.
Now, specifically with the Browns, the other thing I wanted to ask you about is, I mean, the way that Deshaun Watson is playing right now, he's playing like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league and has been for a while. So what is it like, and what must it be like when you're on a team where the defense is pretty good. You know that last year you were a good team when Joe Flacco was in, right? And you know that the quarterback is just like you're drawn dead with the way that guy's playing right now. That must sort of sap the energy in the building a little bit.
The walk-off.
Yeah.
That walk-off, what is that? Like, yo,
what was that?
What was that, yo? You know what I mean? The fact that nobody ain't checking right then and there, I don't know if that was here. If somebody damn sure would have checked it.
Like a veteran on the team.
What?
And for those of you who didn't see it, there was a play where they're trying to run a play at the end of the game when they're already losing, and Deshaun Watson walks off, right? But he thinks there were 12 men on the field, and that's why he was walking off.
Yeah, well, no, so he called a timeout. Okay. And I think the frustration from Stefanski is don't burn the timeout there. Is if you're not going to go for the fourth, take the delay of game, save the timeout.
Right.
Because then you're just going to kick the field goal. Like it was a timeout that didn't make any sense there. Yeah, like I think he thought they had 12 guys on the field. They were trying to go for the fourth. It didn't happen. And so then they could have just taken the delay of game.
The crazy part is when you look at their office and coaching staff, they have a lot of the Philadelphia Eagles tree there.
That's true.
You know, Andrew Barry, Schwartz. They got a lot of, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's some DNA over there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when that happened, I said, damn, I wonder what Schwartz is saying.
It's so hard to believe that any of the Deshaun Watson stuff has anything to do with any of the decision makers other than the owner. Like, he's the reason they signed him. I would imagine he's the reason he's still playing.
Well, look, I mean, I want your perspective. I don't want to put you in an uncomfortable spot.
I feel like he lost his
here.
confidence. I just feel like he's got to get his confidence back.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. He had that year away, too. That might have affected him. But you were part of a situation here in 2020 when the quarterback was underperforming. The franchise quarterback was underperforming. Carson was benched, right? It was very, that's obvious that happened. So what's it like in the locker room? And it's similar to what Bo just asked. Like, do you guys get pissed off? Do you guys, complain about the quarterback to each other? Is it when there's someone, it's not just that position, but the status in the organization. Everyone in that Browns locker room knows Deshaun Watson's contract. They know it's fully guaranteed. They know, like Bo said, the owner wanted this move, right? And so when you're clearly losing because of a player, and I thought in 2020 there were games you guys were losing in large part because Carson was underperforming. How does that go over in there?
Like the gym, we only can control what we can control. That means get the damn ball, strip it, get some turnover. If you win the turnover battle, get more opportunity.
And then he turns it over again.
But that was like even when you look at that 2020 season, when that was happening, Jalen was rising up. Here he come. And if the one drive in particular, let's just talk about Jalen for a second. That year, this man, after practice, will go through the whole, whatever the script was, out there. Just waiting for his time to come. We going down to Green Bay. Remember that?
Yep.
Yes.
I don't know if something happened to Carson helmet or whatever. Something happened, he had to come out.
Yeah.
The man started driving, and then
he got
scores.
benched. Yeah,
that's what happened.
He scored.
Yeah.
But he didn't get benched yet.
Interesting. Okay.
It was like he had to come out for something.
Okay.
And then when he started driving, then that's when it was like the looks start going around like that.
Well, that's the thing that we always like to say is the players know. The players know before the coaches know sometimes. Yeah. Right. And so did you know 2020? Like, I think this guy should be the quarterback.
Look who was preparing him. Our defense was nice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, he kind of fired. Damn, we got to make sure he can't fire us again because Jim will get pissed.
Yeah.
Oh, got this motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just to see, that's what Jim is telling his team. Like, yo, this motherfucker get hot. Because Jalen feeds off energy from the fans, from his teammates, and he already a fiery guy. You know what I mean? So, at practice, you can really, really see it. When things break down, they will, start going. And he did a phenomenal job preparing us, for the type of quarterbacks we had to face during that season. And That's what Jim was telling his guy. But back to what I'm saying, that in Green Bay, when he drove down there and scored, then that's when it was like, whoa. Obviously, the year before, when we played Seattle in the playoffs and they knocked Wentz out, it was like, damn. And then then Josh come in and he hurt himself like the freaking first snap or the second snap or what it was. And then he was like, would Jalen go ahead and do what he do? He's like, damn, can you imagine if we had him?
True.
We won a Super Bowl again.
Yeah, true.
Like, you know, and just to see how things are getting played out is kind of phenomenal. But, you know, that's the whole plan to answer your question.
Yeah, and so the combined.
Hold on, we got to get to a break real quick first because we're hitting our time here. So let's do that right after this. Bet365, our presenting sponsor, never ordinary, and that's why they have 90 million users worldwide, and they live stream 780,000 events each year with early payout offers across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL. Bet365 pioneered live in-game betting, and today Bet365 offers the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. And right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Use the code PHLY365 to sign up, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, total, player props, futures, and more. They've also got the early payout offers across the MLB. If the Phillies go up like 5 runs today, you'll just get paid out even if they don't win the game. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
3 different times during the bye week, I'm driving around and I pass at TrueMark Financial Credit Union. And I like that because it shows it's a Philly bank, right? Or it's a Philly credit union, I should say. And the great thing about them is that the home equity line of credit, HELOC. HELOC allows homeowners to borrow against home equity with a variable interest rate. Preserve your savings to get access to funds as needed for big renovations, education expenses, or emergencies. You can use TrueMark Financial's budgeting tools to save for special purchases like limited edition merchandise. Maybe you want to get a 75 Eagles jersey online. Regular contributions accumulate over time to reach savings goals effectively. Transferring as little as $5 a week gives you $260, more than enough for a Kelly Green jersey. I'm not talking about an Eagles one. I'm talking about a Marshall one. TrueMark Financial is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal opportunity lender. For more information, visit TrueMark.com/PHLY.
What were we going to get to before?
Well, I do want to move on to our next point. I was just going to say that if you can answer this quickly, to combine the quarterback talk and the coach talk into one, you hear the term lost the locker room, right? This coach lost the locker room. This quarterback lost the locker room. What's that feel like when you're in a locker room? What does that look like when a player or a coach loses the locker room?
It's not good. It's terrible. When you see a coach lose the locker room, that means he's not taking accountability and he's pointing the finger. You know, that's back to that term that we use. What is a player coach who's there for their guys, who's not? Right. You know, it's 2 different things. You got to take accountability because at the end of the day, you signed up for this job to be the head of the table and the head, you know, of a team and the leader of a team. Whether they playing good or bad, you got to be understand on that. And then when it comes to quarterback play, lost the locker room. That means if you guys just lose all faith in you, that's what I mean about. Maybe Deshaun lost his confidence. You know what I mean? He's just got to find what made him great and remember why he played his game.
Okay. Interesting. We had a couple super chats to get to before we move on. Let's get to those. From Kyle V says, Vinny, you popped into my store during your rookie bye week in Huntington. Thanks for the photo. Go Herd, go Birds.
Let's go.
Wow, what a shout out. And then from Chase Daniel Plainview, he says, Jalen Hurts is known to go outside the building for advice. Do you think he will ask Aaron Rodgers how to get a head coach fired? It's a funny. It's tough, but it's funny. I will agree with that. All right, the other thing we want to talk to you about, Vinny, is the conversation that's going on these days, and there's some movement on this from the NFLPA about the presence of reporters in the locker room with cameras, the privacy of that. What's your perspective on having been in the league for as long as you were? You know, those times during the week when the media was in the locker room for 45 minutes.
Like, you know, the tough questions that come through those doors be like, Zach, if you're playing bad, you come ask me. Now you gotta watch your words because you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's just
Right.
like
You're already in a bad mood.
Yeah,
Right.
you know what I mean. But he's my man. So you asking me about that, so now I'm getting it. You know what I mean,
Right. And
it's just like the chitter chatter, and they be like, "Yo, did you hear that? You know, they might be the one answering." And it's like, "Yo, my man, why you whispering?" Like, you know, stuff like that. So you know, but
I might be, yeah.
From the time I first got in the league to by the time I was leaving, it was like really not everybody doing their own
cell phone
Instagram
cameras,
thing
True.
or everything. But now it's just like it's getting out of hand because you say one word, it can't get deleted because every other blog site is picking it up. You know what I mean? So that can go 50-50. I mean, but because then you could be balling, and the more cell phone coverage you get, it might be that one little company in the cut. Like, yeah, I like this guy. And I want to check him out. You know, so.
Yeah, there are a lot of angles to it, right, Zach? And I know that you were dealing with it as the president of the Philadelphia chapter of the Pro Football Writers Association. I think there is like the privacy angle of it, which when it used to be with Andy when we were in the locker room twice a day before practice and after practice. Then like everybody's getting changed. That is understandable. That's less the case now, but I would still imagine. I mean, it must feel a little bit intrusive to have people come into your workplace, but that's also part of the job, right?
Oh, you meant doing the changing part?
Well, that's part of the.
Oh yeah,
that's one thing the NFLPA is saying.
Well, yeah, you got to understand, son. The
But that brings in the cameras as well.
Yeah. Okay, but you gotta. Well, here's another thing. There's so many reporters in Philly that come through there. Yeah.
It's different than Tampa.
You know, you changing and they got you in the background,
right?
And I don't think the world want to see. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like I can understand that a little bit,
right?
But maybe it needs to be a time period. Yo, everybody need to be dressed by this time,
right?
You know what I mean? And maybe it just need to be a time slotted before they come in, like on game day.
Yeah.
You know, when you go
in there's a cooling off period, right?
Cool off a little bit. They're like, all right, media get ready to come in.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
And I also think just as there are more cameras where everybody's in there with a camera, there's also greater avenue now for players themselves to have their own social media personalities and share themselves a little bit more than maybe it used to be the case.
Right. And then it's crazy how even that's changing. I remember when was that Antonio Brown used to go live. It's like, oh, this was a dude, this that. Now it's like the whole league doing it. It's like, yo, this dude was ahead of his time when it come to that. You know what I mean? So
are you kind of glad that you didn't have that back in the day?
Yeah, I didn't really care about that stuff like that. All I care about is getting the dub. Like, you get the dub, the whole week was going to be good. You know what I mean? You take an L or a hard L, that week was long as hell. Like, that week could get long.
So what part of it do you think bothers players the most? Is it the privacy aspect of it, where it's a place where you're changing, or is it the having to deal with the tough questions, having I don't want to use the term accountability here, right. But if you're not playing well, you're going to be asked about it. Or if there's a controversy with the team, you're going to be asked about it. Things like that.
I would say the privacy, just the privacy aspect of it. Listen, when you get drafted to the National Football League, man, this shit become a part of your job. You're going to have to answer all type of questions.
Right.
That's just what it is. That's why you get paid the big bucks. It's not the reporter fault that you didn't take any media training classes. Like, you know what I mean? You should be able, and know how to answer that question, respectfully. You know what I mean? So I will hopefully say that the privacy aspect of it is the biggest thing.
So my pitch, I always say that the media shouldn't go out like advocating for why they should do it, right? Because no one's going to be like siding with the media here. I think it's important from our perspective for the accountability component is that you, Vinny Curry, when you're in there, that there's a certain group of beat reporters who are there every day. Like if you're playing well, if you're playing lousy, they're going to ask you questions when you're in your second year and you're not starting, they're going to ask you questions in 2017 when you're starting every year, right? And like, and so there's an accountability from our perspective that that we're not just harping on, either the really high moments or the really low moments, but all those times in between.
Right.
Like, and I think there's value to that. And then just practically speaking, it's like most of that's when you guys are. That's your downtime in the day. Like you're not letting us in the meetings. I know from talking to players, they don't like during the Super Bowl when you have to like sit down for 45 minutes 3 days a week and just wait for those questions. So when you're in the locker room, that's like your downtime. It's a chance to have those casual conversations.
Right, and those conversations it'd be pretty funny, because you just with your guys, and you really, it's like when you're at work and you go on break. That's kind of like what it is, But I think what kind of gets like tricky and sticky. Say if you reported 6 different bad stories and you coming in there, of course nobody gonna want to talk to you.
Sure,
and that's where it gets tricky. But if you know what I mean, if you're doing 50-50 and you calling it down the middle, if I play shitty or I play good and you report it both ways and not just saying, man, this guy got lucky this week or that, then we will have a conversation with you. You know what I mean?
But that comes back to ignore the noise and not hear the noise. Like, how aware are you of who's writing what?
Stay off Twitter. Stay off Instagram. When you got 100 people retweeting something you put out and they adding you on it, you got no choice.
Yeah, that's true.
The first thing that pop up on your phone, like, hey, wait, what did he say?
Yeah.
Like, and then, let's be honest, and I'm probably a part of that too. We take that type of personal, like, damn, dog. Like, man, wait till I see him on Tuesday. Stuff like that. So it's I think that's the part that's kind of annoying. And then let's be honest, when the Birds is not playing the way we think they are playing, this is the type of energy you're gonna get around there. That's from the culture, from the guys that came before us. We just took it on, and then now it's getting passed on. It's been like that.
Now, what happens when you just lost a tough game to Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, okay? And it's Wednesday that week, and you come into the locker room, and you got the short guy waiting by your locker saying, I want to talk to you about all your Jordans. What happens then? I'm making fun of myself because I wrote that story on all your Jordans back then.
Right,
That's literally what happened. I just like, okay, maybe maybe he's really pissed off about us losing, and he's trying to tell the fans like some sense of humor. That's what I was kind of thinking. Why is he texting me for pictures of my shoe collection? Yeah, this guy, I need this guy to back off a little bit. Yeah,
but it gets like that though. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like I said, this goes back to the beginning of the show. We talk about Jim. Being at a high standard and accountability, defense always wanted to be the reason that we won or, put us in a great position because, let's be honest, defense wins championships and that's, he had the bend but don't break rule. And, you just always not on edge on purposely or trying to be maliciously, but you on edge because that's how bad you want to perform or that's how bad as a unit you want to perform. Interesting.
We have one more super chat from Threat Level Midnight on this topic. He says, Vinny, how much do players pay attention to the media?
I would say they try not to, but it goes back to what I was saying.
Yeah.
When you got 100 retweets and they ask your name, you got no choice but to look, man, what's all these retweets? Let me see what he's talking about. You know what I mean? So, but now, do they believe the media or believe what they think about you is on the person. You got to have thick skin, especially I tell people all the time, Philadelphia is not for everybody. You got to have thick skin and you got to play hard as hell here and be able and willing to lay it all on the line, every Sunday. So if you ain't that, they're going to point your ass out and then they're going to let you know, like, yo, you suck. Yeah. You trash. You don't even go hard. You know what I mean? And I think that's what makes this place special.
Yeah.
So I remember hearing from like some people around Andy Reid and some people around Doug Peterson when they got to Kansas City and they got to Jacksonville respectively. And they're like, this is night and day, right? When you got down to Tampa, the first time there was open locker room, what was your reaction?
Hey, yo, I thought they said media was in
Yeah. Where is everybody, man?
It's like, nah, the media is here. I was like, oh. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, whoa, this is crazy, you know. But then it was crazy because that craziness happened. They fired up Curry. Then it was like this. I said, man, I need to get Charlie out and take my ass back to Philly. I was like, yo, you start feeling team sick.
You missed
Not
us.
homesick,
You missed
but
us.
you start feeling team sick. I was like, oh my God. Like, and then when Tom Brady goes there, obviously they try to jack the media up as much as possible, but even to him, it wasn't
right.
It wasn't that much.
And we can save our opinion on Jets media and New York media for another day. We'll get that done. Good job bringing that full circle, Vinny. Do you have an on the record prediction for Sunday?
Yeah, I got it on the record for prediction. I got the score being 21-17 Birds.
All right, there we go. Jim Schwartz does a pretty good job, but the Eagles get the W. There you go. That's a nice little ride the middle. All right. Make sure you become a diehard and all that good stuff. Like the video, subscribe. Thank Vinny for joining us and spending his Tuesday afternoon with us. We will be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock the rest of the week as well. Thanks to Julia for making it happen. We'll talk to you tomorrow. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.